Hey, what's going on YouTube? Bob Lewis wanted to do a quick response video for Scov's Big Hits. It's a new channel I got turned on to recently. He's doing a contest for his 100 subscribers. I think he's up to like 162 now, but pretty cool. Young guy in the hobby. He's in college, so he ain't that young, but I can relate to him in a lot of ways. He got into it with his dad and early on, and and they shared that and as part of their relationship, and much in the same way. My dad and I did the same thing. He was wanting to know kind of how we got started in the hobby, who influenced me, what did they do, what did they collect, first thing I collected, and so here's kind of how the short story goes. I remember my dad worked out of the house. He had an office in our basement in the house growing up, and I was in there. I can't even remember. This was before like I had ever bought my first pack, but he had a stack of cards on one of his shelves in there, and I just picked them up and looked at them, and actually was able to find, I don't know, these cards have always kind of stayed together because that's what I remember them being. So it was this 84 Topps Joe Montana, and then it was, let's see, 7 1981 Topps cards basketball, which was strange because Pittsburgh, we don't even have a basketball team. So it was this Kevin McHale rookie, Kareem, couple Moses Malones, couple Robert Parrish, and then a team leaders with Bird and Archibald on there. So I just remember seeing them and like asking him what they were, and he explained it to me, and had a price guide, and I like finding that set, seeing the card number on the back, and then looking in this book, finding that card number, and then going over and seeing a dollar amount attached to it blew my mind. I didn't understand it, but I liked it. It seemed something cool. It was new to me, and that just kind of sparked a conversation of him growing up in Pittsburgh, and he was a big Roberto Clemente fan, 70 Steelers, Jack Lambert. I got to hear all those stories, and now I don't know how. I know he collected as a kid, but he was one of those fell victim to the cards got lost in the shuffle as he went away to college and stuff like that. So, but from there, it was after Pee Wee football practice, we would go up to this gas station where just kind of would hang out, get a chocolate milk, get a candy bar or something, and anywhere you went in the early 90s just about had a couple hobby boxes or boxes of wax packs, and they were 90. These ones were 90 Topps football, and I remember the Barry Sanders All Pro card in there with the orange banner. It said All Pro, and he was doing like a juke move, and just I remember that set, and from there we would always get a couple packs, and there was a local, of all things, it was a jewelry store, but in the back they had baseball, football cards, packs, and that's kind of the way it was in my small little town growing up. You would there wasn't really a card shop anywhere nearby, but you just had these little general stores that had corners of their store or end of an aisle that had packs and stuff, and that's kind of where I got started, collecting cards. and he also wanted to know what our favorite sports movie of all time was, and I'll have to give him a shout because he mentioned Benchwarmers, and that's a pretty underrated sports movie. I wasn't even on my radar, and it was one of those movies I didn't think I was gonna like when I watched it, but I was pleasantly surprised by it. Anyways, my pick is gonna have to be. So I was gonna do this whole bit about. I was gonna say "Bring It On" was my favorite sports movie of all time, and then I thought that might not go over so well. So my favorite sports movie of all time is The Natural, and I can, for a number of reasons, I'm kind of a movie nerd, and the way that it's filmed, the lighting in it, the way that the characters develop, Roy Hobbs being this farm boy from a hick town, with these abilities almost, and that encounter with the Whammer, the Babe Ruth kind of knockoff, and that he strikes him out on 3 pitches. That scene still today, just you're rooting for that underdog. I love a good underdog story, and it's more than just a baseball movie. It's a movie like good and evil. Now the nerdiness is coming out in me, but the music in it, man, it still gives me goosebumps today when I listen to that soundtrack as I'm watching the movie. Crushing the ball, hitting the lights, knocking the cover off the ball, all of that stuff still makes me feel something. When I've seen it, I've seen it dozens of times. So The Natural is my favorite movie. I had a lot on my list here. I was kind of going through and sorting it out, but that made my number one spot. It's tough for me to do that because I'm such a big fan of a lot of movies. But for the sake of this response video, that is it, and it's already 7 minutes, so I'm going to sign off there. Thanks for the opportunity for the contest. Look forward to seeing the results. Best of luck with your channel, my man, and thank you everybody out there for the support. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Take care.